All right, so to complete this assembly, we have to add in the pins. Now, these are more cosmetic than anything else because all the motion is controlled by constraints. But since the assembly has them as part of it, they would affect the locations of our center of mass. So we'll go to Insert Components. I'll select the large pin, or it's pin and short pin, so I'll select that. And since I want to put two of them in, I'll actually actuate this push pin, and I'll drop the first one here, and I will drop the second one over here. And then I'll say I'm done with inserting components. All right, so we're going to put these pins in just using a concentric mate and a coincident mate, but since these pins are round, I'm going to want to lock their rotation so I don't leave an additional degree of freedom. I'll explain what that means. So I'm going to go to Mate and Mate Selections. So I'll go to concentric, select the cylinder, I'll select the other cylinder, and it shows up with the concentric, but now if I lock the rotation, that would mean that the cylinder can't spin either. And since it's completely symmetric, I wouldn't know if it was spinning anyway. So I'll select this surface and this surface to make them coincident. And I'll do the same thing down here. But what I'm going to do is I'm purposely not going to select the lock rotation so we can see what result would happen there. So I'll select the cylinder and this cylinder. And I'll select this face and this face to make them coincident. And what we would find out, everything would look fine, but our assembly is considered underdefined because this pin can rotate, even though I wouldn't notice it rotating. So I can fix that by opening up my mates, going and finding that concentric mate, which is this one. I can right-click and edit the feature, and I can just select Lock Rotation. And they'll say that I'm okay. And you'll notice that the concentric mates that are locked have these solid circles in the middle of them. That's the indication, the icon indicating that you're using a locked rotation. All right, so the last thing we want to do is we have a coordinate system that we want to reference our center of mass from. So by default, the origin of the assembly would be where I would reference my center of mass from, but we want to reference our center of mass from this corner. So it's relatively simple to put in a coordinate system. It's just a bit of reference geometry. So under the Assembly tab, we'll go to Reference Geometry, and I will select Coordinate System. So the first thing it's asking us is a point or a vertex where that coordinate system is going to be located. And that's easy because I just want to select that corner. Now it's going to then allow me to flip the directions of the various axes. So it's asking me the x-axis right now, and I could flip its direction. And in this case, z changes in accordance with it to maintain the right-hand coordinate system. But if I look down here, it will come in with the standard orientation. And if I go to the document, we will see that that is the orientation that they want. X is pointing out, Y is pointing up, and Z is pointing along. So that's all I want. So I will just accept that. And it shows me that I have coordinate system 1, and it shows it here in the assembly feature manager. But the reason we don't see it is we don't have the visibility turned on. So I will go up here and turn on the visibility of coordinate systems just so we can see it. All right, so we want to find out where the center of mass of this part is with reference to this coordinate system 1. So we'll go up under Mass Properties, and by default, it's going to be choosing the default origin, which is the origin of the assembly. So I want to use the drop-down menu to select Coordinate System 1, and then we're going to look at the coordinates of our center of mass, which are in meters. If you remember, we set the coordinates of this assembly to MKS. So let's take a look at the diagram that we had, and the center of mass is negative 1.29, 2.07, 0.26. So it looks like we're good. All right, so the next video that we're going to do is I'm going to come in and show you how to set these distance mates up.